Thank you, friend. Shabbat shalom and greetings to you all. You know, the year's just about half over. Take a moment and ask yourself if your plans and aspirations for it are on track or have been fulfilled. Are you stuck? Do you know you need help when you do need help? Never be afraid to seek it. We can't always do everything by ourselves. We spend our lives doing one of three things. We move towards something. We move away from something without knowing where we are going. Or we float, which can feel motionless, since you're not moving toward or away from anything in particular. Which path are you on? Your energy. Energy does not sit still. It is constantly in motion. Try and move towards something. You still have half a year left to correct whatever you need to correct in your life. Goals give us direction, aspirations, purpose. Purpose is not what you see in people ranting in social media. That's opportunity for people who know no better to pretend that they know everything. Now, my school guidance counselor never told me there was a career out there as an influencer, and there were no requirements for education. Boy, I would have taken that one in a heartbeat. Now, I see that in the myriad of well-versed, well-educated people, like rabbis I know and studied with, who spend their times giving mindless, idiotic political commentary, instead of sharing wisdom from the Talmud or other great writings which they were trained in, which can be used to help reflect on who we are, where we are, what we are doing, where we are going. At least we know where we are going when we come together and gather as a like-minded group, a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith, love, any and all love, because we are a true chavur, a fellowship, as we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes. Unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. Even though together we're individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her their own way. So once again, please do go ahead. Invite everybody you know, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. Hine Matov, Umanayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Umanayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. Because we supported each other in this community, let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all do believe in something. It's a part of your kavanah, your intention that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. It is your intention. It sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. So let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Let's send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing out to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal is for everyone. Float through space, finding those in need, so send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everyone you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It's the healing of the world, the tikkun olam that's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And let's hope the world heals and stops being as anti-Semitic as it is right now. Let's hope the people wake up where they are and think about who they want to vote for. Do they want to vote for anti-Semites? Don't be angry at an individual. Be angry at a mentality. Part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick, because it's for those in our hearts and our minds. Right? So let's all send out energy for people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers always go for those in need of assistance, because we pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us and for those close to us. For Melanie, for Carson, for the fairy godmother slowly emerging from their caves. For my guides who help me, teach me, make me grow. For my students on the path of knowledge. For the pals we have that we do not always acknowledge, but who also need to know that they're important. For Corey and Alan, for Sherry. For Lorella, for Gabe. For Pinky. For Giggles and Lily. For Alana, the MW and Snoopy. For Roberta. And dear Inura and Winston. For John and Fern. For Maria and John. Doria and Gloria. For Ronnie and Connie. For Maya, Tally. For Nina and her twin Linda and Danny. For all those suffering and in need, let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives. All of our sacred animal friends everywhere. For everyone you know in need, for the whole world. For Devora, who always knows she's special. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out into circles of the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Me, Shaberach, Avotenu, Makor Chabracha, Limotenu, may the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage, make our lives a blessing, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Barak, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we say every week, which we call upon God to heal as he has healed before. Misha Barak, may he who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now, it's unfortunate that this is one of the years when we read these two little parshas together, as each is so different and has so many little things in them that you really want to look at them separately and study them separately. But this week we read chukat and balak. The first meaning the law, but it deals with a very specific law, and not so much a law as a ritual pattern. The second one of the few named for someone not Jewish, and in this case, a seer and a prophet. Now, what do you think when you think of the word law? There's a lot of things, and over time it changes. At one time, it might have been the law that governed man, those 10 commandments, the founding rules for nations and ethics, the rules so important in the founding of America, which will be celebrated this next week. At other times, you might have thought about the laws governing society as community formed, as a new industry of political animals evolved. Times often dictate what the law means. These days, you probably think mostly about lawyers and litigation because it is the society we live in. As George Harrison wrote, you serve me, I'll serve you. Swing your partners and all get screwed. Bring your lawyer, I'll bring mine. Get together, we could have a real bad time. Now, the first begins with the famous ceremony of the red heifer of our readings today, a mystical animal that portends and is still sought. But this reading is not about, the kind of law you're thinking about. This is about the law, the rules of a specific sacrifice only. Numbers 19:2. This is the law of the instruction that the Lord commanded, saying, speak to the children of Israel that they should take to you an unblemished red cow that has no injury, on which a yoke has not gone. This could be the most searched for animal in history, given the years, about 3,600, more so than Yeti or Bigfoot. It's one of the most talked about and anticipated animals of all time, and it will herald a new era which will see the building of the third temple in Jerusalem, among other things. That's why it's so exciting to think about. Ain't coming, but people are looking. Now, there is something mysterious about reds. And there have been plenty of reds who've been expected to herald new eras, not just cows. And some have. Cleopatra, Judas Iscariot, Genghis Khan, Christopher Columbus, Galileo, Thomas Jefferson, Jessica Rabbit, The Little Mermaid, and of course, former Prince Harry, who was doing more to end the monarchy than anyone could have anticipated. A perfect example of what's going on in the world today. So do not hold your breath waiting for the red heifer and the ritual for it, which has not been seen or done for several thousand years and probably won't be for quite a while. But do notice two critical ingredients in this section of law and purification: living water and hyssop. Two of the Bible's most powerful spiritual cleansers, readily available to each and every one of you today. Do not negate them in your lives, and we've read about each of them in our journey through the Bible so far. But don't forget, the journey for these people has just begun. We're about to go through a time tunnel of 40 years. Hey, we went through one of 400 years in the move from Genesis to Exodus. Change is always upon us. Numbers 21. And the children of Israel, all the congregation, came to the wilderness of Zin in the first month, and the people stayed at Kadesh. Miriam died there and was buried there. That's it. Like the death of Sarah, it's simply a fact. Miriam died, no mourning, no fanfare. No other words will be spoken about it. We then find out the so-called crime of Moses, for which he cannot enter the promised land. We read that in Numbers 27. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the staff and assemble the congregation, you and Aaron, your brother. You shall speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will give its water. So you shall bring water out of the rock for them, and give a drink to the congregation and their cattle." Now the staff of leadership, we saw that last time, Aaron's staff. They're given easy instructions. We could all do that. Simple. And Moses and Aaron assembled the community opposite the rock, and he said to them, "Listen, rebels, shall we bring water out of this rock for you?" And Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock with his staff twice, and much water came out, and the congregation and their cattle drank. Do you see the problem? Easy to miss. This has been debated for thousands of years. The question, did Moses change the instructions? Numbers 20:12. And the Lord said to Moses and to Aaron, "Because you did not trust in me, to make me holy before the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this community to the land that I've given them." By hitting the rock, instead of talking to it, did Moses make it appear more as if it is his own doing, right? It's producing the water. If he had simply spoken to the rock and watched the water flow out as God had commanded. After much debate, the solution became Moses did not do two things. He did not trust in God. Had he trusted, he would have simply done as he was told. And he did not make God holy in the eyes of the people. He was seen to have elevated himself, not God. I think that's stretching quite a bit myself to try and find a reason. So Moses' sin, for which he's condemned to die outside the borders of the promised land, is his presumptuous claim at the very moment he is supposedly to sanctify God in the eyes of the people. That is, he and Aaron who will bring forth water from the rock instead of God. It seems a little egocentric of God, who would you think has more things going on than worrying about PR. But isn't this all just conjecture? Maybe he should have simply asked God how he would have liked to have been made holy. We spend so much time guessing what people want, when all we have to do is ask. Words have power. Worlds are created and turned on them. Use them. But think before you speak. And then the final major change takes place. Numbers 20:24. Let Aaron be gathered to his people, because he shall not come to the land that I have given to the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my word at the waters of Meribah. Here we are at the end of the 40 years. At the very beginning of this reading, we were at the beginning of it with the death of Miriam. Now we're at the end with the death of Aaron. With the death of Aaron, the bookend is complete. We're now moving into a new time, new leadership, a new place, kind of like the world is today. And then a magical, mystical bronze serpent of Moses comes and cures the plague that God had sent through the people. And this has got to be the second most famous snake in the Bible after the serpent in Eden. And the Lord said to Moses, make a fiery serpent. Set it on a pole, and it will be that everyone who is bitten and sees it will live. So Moses made a bronze snake and set it on a pole. And it was as if a snake bit a man, then he would look at the bronze snake and live. Now, if that's not magic, I don't know what is. And it's quite a piece of magic, almost bordering on idol worship. And Moses' metal snake has a name like a pet, Nehushtan. Now, Nehushtan is a pun of either the Hebrew word for snake, nahas, or maybe brass, nahoset. And it may actually mean the great serpent. We don't know. But it could also be the end of something we were told at the beginning of Exodus. The two signs that God gave Moses at the burning bush are that his staff becomes a snake, which it did when he first went to Pharaoh, and his hand becomes leprous like snow. Here is the final reference to the snake. And Miriam, before her death, became leprous like snow as her punishment for mocking Moses' second wife. The two signs have now come full circle. This part of the journey is now complete. We then get into the second reading, which truly deserves its own reading, which in other years it has. We always felt the serious book of life had no room for humor. But humor is an essential part of life. And this is the one true piece of humor in the Bible. But humor with an incredible message. In fact, the Bible would be strange and incomplete without it. Humor makes it real, like life. Now, we just sometimes have trouble putting humor in such a serious vein. So if you get nothing else from this reading, the fact that this really is the one true piece of humor in what many consider a rule book of life is astounding in itself. This episode confounded the ancient rabbis so much they came to the conclusion that this was one of 10 items preordained at the time of creation. It's truly one of the great readings, mystical and magical, and it ranks right up there with the great dream stories of Joseph. And while it is called the balak, given the naming convention of the Torah, it really should have been called Balaam for the chief character. Numbers 22:3. And Moab, and we learned about Moab before, was very fearful because the people was numerous. Moab felt a disgust at the children of Israel. It's a strange human characteristic, unfortunately still very prevalent today, taking the very existence of someone who is different or strong to be a threat. Tiny little Israel is considered a threat to so many. So the king, Balak, takes action. And he sent messengers to go see Balaam. So this reading tells the story of how Balak hires the prophet Balaam to lay a curse on Israel. Balaam meets resistance from God, has a conversation with his donkey, ends up blessing Israel instead of cursing them. And believe it or not, this is actually one of the oldest pieces in the Bible. Balaam, son of Beor, is actually described in a plaster inscription from Deir Allah that was discovered in 1967. He is actually the earliest person mentioned in the Bible who was also mentioned in an archaeological source. History is on his side. And we get excited by the discovery of proof. So, is this proof of the whole story? Maybe. Wouldn't that be exciting? We can each decide. Numbers 22:6. Now go, curse the people for me, because it's more powerful than I. Maybe I'll be able, we'll strike it, and I'll drive it out of the land, because I know that whoever you'll bless will be blessed, and whoever you'll curse will be cursed. These words, note these words, they hearken back to the words of Abraham. And we will hear them several times in this reading, and it is a complete repeat of what Abraham said. Emissaries of Balak come to Balaam to hire him, but he resists them. He listens and he does what God tells him, not what man tells him. God said to Balaam, you shall not go with them. You shall not curse the people, for it is blessed. How do we do that today? Tell someone God told you to do or not do something. If you do, Most people will simply think you're nuts. But tell them your guts told you, or your higher self. That's okay. Well, friends, that's how God talks to us all. That is your guts, your higher self. Sometimes you just get a feeling. I've got a feeling deep inside. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got a feeling I can't hide. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. I got a feeling. He says he's not for hire. God told him not to go. So he's not going. No matter the amount that they're willing to offer him. But then he has this change of heart, and God does tell him to go. So he ends up going, and we have these contradictory messages. If these men have come to call you, rise, go with them. After he was told not to go with them. But only the word that I speak to you shall you do. So these men have come to hire him to say something, but he's not going to. He's going to say what God tells him to say. He goes. But the donkey he is riding is hesitant. Because the donkey sees an angel blocking their path and 3 times refuses to go. And the ass saw the Lord's messenger stationed in the road. And we know when we read God's messenger, we're talking about an angel. Okay, always. And it continues. His sword unsheathed in his hand, and the ass swerved from the road and went into the field. And Balaam struck the ass to steer her back to the road. And the Lord's messenger stood in the footpath through the vineyards, a fence on one side, a fence on the other. And the ass saw the Lord's messenger, was pressed against the wall, and pressed Balaam's leg against the wall, and once more he struck her. The Lord's messenger crossed over and stood in a narrow place, in which there was no way to swerve right or left, and the ass saw the Lord's messenger, and crouched down under Balaam, and Balaam's wrath flared, and he struck the ass with the stick, and the Lord opened the ass's mouth, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you should have struck me these 3 times? Balaam said to the ass, "Because you've toyed with me. Had I a sword in my hand, by now I would have killed you." And the ass said to Balaam, "Am I not your ass upon whom you've ridden your whole life till this day? Have I ever been wont to do thus to you?" And he said, "No." And the Lord unveiled Balaam's eyes, and he saw the Lord's messenger stationed in the road, his sword unsheathed in his hand, and he prostrated himself and bowed on his face. Friends, the ass sees the Lord's angel in the road, while her master, the professional seer, remains blind to the divine emissary until his eyes are unveiled. The unveiling or uncovering of the eyes is crucial to the central theme of vision, and both unveiling and eyes will recur in the prologue of Balaam's oracles. The Torah records how after being thoroughly humiliated by his talking, Balaam, the sorcerer and prophet commissioned by the king of Moab to curse the Jews, found himself incapable of cursing them. Instead, he bestowed on the Jews 4 tremendous blessings, and continues to remind us what we heard before, and possibly never more poignantly than when Joseph told us that he was a mouthpiece. God is in charge. Well, Balaam can only say what God told him to do. Numbers 23:25. And Balaam answered and said to Balak, "Did I not speak to you, saying, all that the Lord speaks, only that may I do?" Now the Midrash tells us that Balaam was so great a prophet that his prophecy equaled that of Moses. Now that's pretty big company to keep. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free. Honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace, freedom for everybody. And end to terror and hatred. Remember, we're a community. We learn together, we celebrate with each other, we love each other. Let's share this ride together, men and women equally. So let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. Please do. Learn to forgive and learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion all that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our Kavanaugh, cause, our effect. Everything's linked. You always have time to be forgiven and to forgive. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. But always do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you. You should learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace, my friends, is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people, in the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love. It's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and the ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart, because we are all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. And most of the time, we don't know it. We don't think there is somebody there for us, but there is. Continue to explore faith and belief, and never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. Because we share together, we learn together, we help each other, because we are each of us simply trying to find love, acceptance, and support in life. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean. You're never alone on your journey. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive. Keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Listen to the voice of God as he talks to you. And remember, your connection to God and all he has created, in body and soul. It's a part of you, it's a part of me, it's a part of all of us forever. Enjoy the journey. We are the ones who will be forging a nation with a return to a code of ethical laws, understanding the interconnectedness of all. We're going to encounter many talking asses in our lives, but never forget the reality that we are forever blessed, and remember that in humility there is always strength. Why can't we be humble? Like the good Lord said. He promised to exalt us, but how? Is the way. How man be so greedy when there's so much left? All things God-given, and they all have been blessed. That's the way God planned it. That's the way God wants it to be. And that is the way God wants it to be. Always wants it to be. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Keep sharing the light. Practice forgiveness. Be thankful. Be gracious. Be kind. Be loving. Believe in yourselves. Spread a little goodwill to the world. Continue to be the miracle in someone else's life. And be an example of all you can be. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.